Hello everyone, and welcome to another live stream. How are you all doing? Thank you for the 4 months, Xark1609. How am I doing? I'm doing well, thank you, Slime. Hope you're doing well too. Everyone says Rainbow Summit is the hardest scenario in Rollercoaster Tycoon 1. They are all wrong. Like, everyone who thinks that Rainbow Summit is the hardest scenario in Rollercoaster Tycoon 1 is wrong. It's not a Rollercoaster Tycoon 1 scenario. That's Rainbow Valley. This is a Rollercoaster Tycoon 2 scenario. It's still on the difficult side, but it's not the one you're thinking of. Because yeah, Rainbow Valley, or any scenario where you can't remove trees, is a pain. Rainbow Summit is difficult, and you can't build above tree height, unless you use an exploit, but it's not as much of a pain, because the trees you can just yeet out of the way. Hope you're having a good Sunday. I did have a good Sunday. I was very busy today. I wrote a ride overview from scratch, which involved quite a bit of research, including a few saved games already, so that, you know, I don't have to do that again later. Which makes for easier recording when I record it. And I finished writing another video, which I also did a bit of research for. Yesterday evening I recorded another challenge, which is the one I teased. And after that I play tested another challenge, which I haven't recorded yet, but I know it's possible to do, so I'm gonna do that well after I finish some more videos. So there's a lot of stuff in the pipeline, and suddenly I'm motivated. Like, I've been motivated to make videos over the past like 2 months, but a little bit less. Motivation was a little bit down, but it was still fine. But now my motivation is up again, which is really good. There was heavy rain in my country today. Well, I hope that you're all fine and no flooding and stuff. Assuming no flooding, heavy rain can be quite nice if you don't need to be outside. Hello, Galaxy Gothic. How you doing? It was sunny and humid today. Here it was fairly cold for the time of year, and not much more. Cloudy. It's a bit boring. So yeah, first off, the scenario you are some people were thinking of is this one. Which is, you know, difficult because you can't remove the trees and it's annoying. This is Rollercoaster Tycoon 1, and it's one of the last ones, sometimes considered the most difficult. It's not the one I'm going to be playing. I'm going to be playing this one, which is quite difficult, quite different, but also quite difficult. Took me quite a few tries to beat it, and I also made a tutorial on it. And you can sort of see this playthrough as a tutorial as well, because I'm not going to use plugins. Well, maybe the benches and the bins, but that's something you can do manually anyway. And, you know, the right price manager plugin doesn't matter because we charge for the entrance. And, of course, the soft guest cap plugin. But if you build enough rides, you don't need to worry about it anyway. Thank you for the follow, Sarakt FPS. I've been playing Pokemon. I beat Pokemon Red with only bug types. Now I'm doing a yellow run. I should play Pokemon again as well, too. I'm not sure if I have time for it. You know, with all the other games I want to play, and the time of the YouTube, and the time of the speed skating database that I'm building. It's just a lot of stuff to do. Are you excavating all the land again? Yeah. So, this would definitely be possible if you charged for the rides, because you have again 4 years. So, that's fine. But you charge for the entrance, which means you just can't make enough money. That doesn't quite work. Hey, thank you for the prime sub, Tanner the Horse. You never understood this one having the launched freefall ride. You can build it underground though. At least drown all the guests at the end. Love that ending of the video. Yeah, the video, surprisingly, even though it got a lot of positive feedback, it didn't do all that well in the first day. But it's now catching up and doing, like, better than expected. It's still below my normal views in the first 2 days and 3 hours. But currently, it's getting more views than my videos are usually getting a little over 3 days. A little over 3 days after the upload. So it's catching up. And I got a lot of positive feedback. And, you know, people watched for quite a long time on average. So I'm very happy with the video. And guess 69 if they're still there. Let's see. Oh, they're on... Well, let's see. Dylan something. Dylan S. They're there. Not for much longer. I promise you, that's guest 69. I don't even need the numbers. See, if we do show real names of guests, it says... Oh, it still says Dylan S. It doesn't change to guest 69. Yeah, we do have terrain modification here. By the way, what I was talking about with an exploit, so that you can build above 3 heights. Someone said raising the land. Well, yes, that is what I was talking about. But not just raising the land. Because... so this is the highest I can build a launched freefall. But after you've built it, you can still lower the land below it. So you can raise the land, build whatever you need to build high up, and then lower the land again. And that still works. Obviously, it only costs extra money. It's not a good idea. But it works. You can build above tree height in that way. How difficult do you think Lightning Peaks is? Well, it took me about 2 minutes to beat. With a lot of speed. Well, no, a little bit longer actually. It wasn't on the more difficult side. Yeah, I did a speedrun of Rollercoaster Tycoon 1 base game a few days ago. Just to see how fast I could get it. Which, as a refresher, is all these scenarios. So what do you think my best time is on all these scenarios in a row? And you start with no saved designs. Obviously, the pre-builds that come with the game, but none of your own. You need to build them. You know, if you build one in Forest Frontiers and save it, you can use it later on. But you can't have ones at the start that you've pre-saved. And obviously, no plugins, no cheats, only fast forward. And early scenario completion. In the meantime, let's build the go-karts. Oh, I should add the goal actually. Because, why not? What was the latest text? Yeah, we don't need that. Scenario goal, get 2,500 guests at the end of year 4. Of course, the only guess we get is a non-serious guess of 69 hours. Which is not quite accurate. Will be kind of shocking if it was. 2 hours, 30 minutes. It's a little bit faster than that. Four hours, 69 minutes. You don't have a lot of faith in me, do you? All your guesses are too slow. The 69 minutes is not too far off. It was 53 minutes and 20 or so seconds. I didn't time it exactly, I didn't record it, it was just a practice. It was slightly under an hour. How? Well, the world record is 18 minutes. So my time wasn't actually that great. If you want to see the 18 minutes, go to speedrun.com and then the Rollercoaster Tycoon 1. And then it's fast forward %, which basically means running the Rollercoaster Tycoon 1 scenarios in Rollercoaster Tycoon 2 with the fast forward, an open Rollercoaster Tycoon with fast forward and all other advantages that come with it. By the way, fun fact about the video, about Crazy Castle, is that I was looking for a while for the right music during the dramatic bit. And, you know, you have YouTube's free audio library and stuff. And I couldn't really find the right track. I didn't find anything that was nice. Maybe I was looking for the wrong genre and stuff. Then I thought, well, maybe there's a nice Rollercoaster Tycoon... Rollercoaster Tycoon 2 music track for it. And surprise, surprise, there it was. Organ style. It's absolutely perfect. And especially let's quickly go to that video, because it turned out really nicely. Let's do Chrome. That's a Reddit thing. Today I will... October, it's time to remove most of... On the 31st, not all of them yet, as having a few rides operating is a very large part of the park rating, and we do need that to be at least 600 to beat the scenario. On the 31st of October we count down the seconds, and with about 9 seconds to go. I just love how the organ style comes in. It fits perfectly. But at the moment I say 1650, another kind of higher, more dominant tone comes in. And I think it fits perfectly for the extra dramatic tension. So we remove all the path and the last remaining rides. Many guests are drowning every second and the guest count is dropping insanely fast. Will the day end before we have fewer than 1,500 guests so that we don't fill the scenario? 3,000 guests, 2,500 guests, 2,000, 1,800, 1,700, 1,650, 1,600, and with 1,595 guests left we beat the scenario just in the nick of time. Like that run riff. That one riff fits perfectly between 1650 when I say that and the end when the music dies down a bit again. That was a total coincidence. Because I found it and I found it a nice song for it. Then I didn't know how long this was gonna be. I recorded my voice beforehand and then I slowed down the game appropriately so that the guest count would match up when I said it. And then I put the music under it, and somehow it fit perfectly. Did you get that drowning bit in one take? No. If we go to the full playthrough, then right at the end, let's see, this is half October. Then I will save. And then I will make a mistake. Because I'm selling all the rides too early. And that's when I got reminded. Oh, this is first the selling stalls bit. And that's when I got reminded that you need some rides to keep your park value up. Because I had forgotten that. And... oh yeah, there we lower the land for the last time. There's only a minute left. Oh yeah, this was fully excavated. Then we make Crazy Castle into Crazy Lake. And then I remove all the rides. And then here, my park rating is already screwed. Before even a single guest has drowned. And then... This park ends at about 4,500 guests left, something like that. Let's see. Yeah, I filled it and there's still more than 4,400 guests left. So it wasn't even close. And then I did it again and then it was just the absolute perfect timing. And when this happened, I was basically begging for the day to end, because obviously I could just restart, but it was perfect. And obviously the closer I cut it, the perfect the playthrough is. And it was... I just got lucky, honestly, and it was great. But let's get back to this. There we are. Genocide Lake. Yes. By the way, fun fact. I wasn't even... when I started that challenge, the only idea was to excavate... no, was to make it into a lake, actually. The original idea was me trying to turn empty airfield into a lake. Then I playtested that a little bit. I tried the concept, and it turns out that that's not possible. You can't make enough money for that. Then it turned into making a lake out of Crazy Castle. Guess 420 already here, probably. I wanted to make a lake out of Crazy Castle, and not at the bottom, but at the standard water level, which is already, you have a bit of water already in Crazy Castle. But then halfway, I realized I was making a lot of money. I was like, well, maybe I can fully excavate the entire park. And then I decided to do that. But then I had excavated the park and I was like, well, I still have a lot of money left over. Might as well go out with a bang. So yeah, it didn't entirely happen as I presented. Obviously, the playthrough is the playthrough and you can check that. But I didn't start with the idea to fully excavate the entire park. That was just something that happened later on when I found out that I was making enough money for that. And I bet you that a whole load of those kind of challenges go the exact same way. You go halfway, you see it's possible to do a more fun thing, or you just come up with a fun thing then, and you do the more fun thing. Alright, let's round Nadine S. It's more fun in the video if it's as if it was on the first try. Yeah, but also, like, including the first try where I failed, doesn't really add that much. It's not that too many guests drowned, because that wasn't the issue. The issue was that I removed the ride too early. And what I learned from that, I did include in the video, but showing it would have just slowed down the pace. Didn't really work. Now, I am working on a video, I finished writing it today, where I do fail a lot. And I mentioned that, and I will show it. But that was also expected. Okay, now we can't build above tree height, but what we can do is go up the hill, the side of the hill. The nice thing about this park is we don't need to worry. Okay, that's annoying. But we don't need to worry about throughput at all. Is there like a massive gap there or something? You know what? I'm just gonna go that way. Tree height is really low. Apparently. Or maybe it's more fun if you show the failures first. That depends on the failure. And on how the park's been going. Like, I don't think this failure about me removing the rides too early was fun to show. But some other failures, like for example, if I had failed and I had ended up with like 1,495, so 5 guests fewer than I needed, then absolutely I would have shown it. That's a great failure to show. Because it shows that I was close, it shows that I was just, I was cutting close, it's drama, I could have done the same thing. That's a good failure to show. But if I had drowned all the guests way too early, for example, a day too early because I accidentally thought October had 30 days or whatever, then that's not particularly interesting. I'm gonna take a drink. Now, if I place taller trees, obviously it's about the tree height of these trees. And drink some water, that was expected. You guys are unoriginal. It's a coded value. Obviously, you can't change it by just putting a bunch of these trees. And we can very easily try it. It is 0 meters to 10.5. So it's 10.5 meters, which is 7 units. Or 35 feet. 9 kilometers per hour, please. Yeah, it's just the height from the ground. But tree height sounds better. Okay, I like this turn. It fits perfectly in the little valley. Also, look at this tunnel now. It's a bit squashed. And it's not... The train is not rendered properly, the track. It looks like the track stops. But if you raise the land, the tunnel rises up. And the track is actually properly drawn. Do you drink the blood of drowned guests to keep your voice silky smooth? I shouldn't give away my secrets, so I choose to not answer that. You know all the programming stuff. If you want like all the deals on programming stuff, you're better off going to Dirklink. This was more just... Why am I in the cheap menu? I want more money, but not illegitimately. That was just something I had noticed. Oh, whoops. That's... So, we're right on the edge of the park. How fast are we going there? Building in these hills is quite tricky. You know what, I can just stay underground. Yeah, that works perfectly. How? What's in the way? Oh, the loop. Hang on, I thought I was already close to the loop here, but that was completely and utterly isometric trickery again. Have you ever seen him eat an entire bulb of garlic? I mean, no one of you has ever seen me in real life, so the answer is no, but the answer to have you seen me eat anything is no. This scenario is a love-hate relationship. I hate the building, but I kind of love the setup if you play without optimized rides. I think the building is interesting because you have the hill, and the hill makes it more interesting. And the wooden coaster, this is quite a nice example of how you can build on this kind of terrain. Oh yeah, I should build a path up towards the chairlift, by the way. Like, there's a little bit of path on top of the chairlift. And I should build a path towards that. Technically, you don't need to, because guests will eventually take free transport rides like that one. But it's still nice for them so that they can find their destination a little bit quicker. And not potentially get stuck there for a bit. Okay, let's make this brakes. And now we need to align. Perfect. Oh, entrance, exit. We might need food stalls, since guests were just complaining about not having them. One day you must do a stream where we just watch you eat stereotypical Dutch foods. If you want that, just watch some kind of blogger. Or vlogger, not blogger. I'm not a vlogger. And I will probably never be. Like, the day I do a video like eating Dutch foods challenge or whatever, or me eating Dutch foods, it's like the day my channel has gone down terribly. That's not something I should ever do. Ooh, the lateral G's are going to be quite high there. Custom plan spec. There's definitely a custom plan spec. I don't know where I would find it, but if you ask around in the New Elements Discord, someone would probably know. Okay, the lats are still fine. By the way, fun fact. Recently, there's been a change to how the lateral G's are displayed. Because, do you all know the bug that 2.80 lateral G's shows up as red, even though it's not a problem yet? It's only a problem from 2.81. Well, that's been changed now. 2.80 is now black instead of red. Which is good. Also, the positive G's never turn red anymore, because they don't give a penalty. In fact, we have 7.35 G's, and they're not red at all. And the same goes for minus 2.11, which used to also be red. It's also not red. Oh, we do have red intensity. Yeah, I didn't quite notice that yet. But it's fine. Guests are riding it. You know, it's for the daredevils. It's because we have 7 positive G's. Isn't 7G deadly? No. I mean, maybe if you're already in weak health. 7 G's will likely cause you to black out a little bit. But it's not deadly. Can we build a haunted heist? No. You can't even build a haunted heist not underground. Can we build a Ferris wheel? Also no. We can build a crooked heist though. Black out a little bit. I mean, blacking out a little bit is better than blacking out a lot. Yeah, 7G for a very short time, like in a vertical loop, it's just super uncomfortable. But like I said, unless you either were already almost dead or just are incredibly unlucky, it won't kill you. I love that you can build an observation tower below tree height, but you can't build a Ferris wheel. So I'm just going to build a load of flat rides here, and then I'm going to build a path around it. Yeah, in launch and re-entry, astronauts only experience about 3 Gs. Which doesn't seem all that much, but they do experience it for quite a while. Don't forget food. Real guests don't need food. Food is for the weak. And for me. Have you ever built about a euthanasia coaster? Heard about it, I built it. In Rollercoaster Tycoon. And it worked quite well. Well, it didn't really kill guests. So, didn't work quite well. Alright, let's build a launched coaster here. And if it breaks down, we play bowling with the guests. Can you drown a security guard? I can. What do you have against security guards? Poor guy. Okay, let's go up the hill. It's not gonna do an inversion. We don't have the height for that. Unless I dig out a lot or whatever, but we can go up the hill. Let's do it like this. This looks like a very sudden And that shouldn't be like this. Looks like it's broken off or something like that. Okay, now launched without passing station, otherwise it's kind of deadly. Okay, how far does 75 kilometers per hour get us? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, I want a longer queue line so that it might fill up at some point. And in fact, I should just relocate this thing. Hang on, did it just crash? I don't know, I didn't look for long enough. Oh well, we'll find out later. A little bit less or more. I think this is fine. If it crashes, then so be it, I suppose. Sacrifices have to be made sometimes, you know? Okay, that is a perfect place for some stalls. So yeah, it just crashed. I was right, I did see it crashing. It apparently, because station brakes and stuff are different, it crashed the second time. Interesting. Yeah, quit stalling and get these guests some food. Oh, by the way, I should increase the price to 40 is probably fine for now. I'll check how much the guests have in a minute so that we can optimize it entirely. I don't think I have ever beaten this scenario without the use of ads. So, there's a challenge for today. No ads. And pink balloons, of course. Welcome, ICIC. Okay, how much do guests spawn with? Now, I think we're already at the soft guest cap, so no new guests are... a few are. Let's see, you have 70. You have also 70. You had 70. You had 60. Okay, we need 2 more values. You had 60, 60, 90. Okay, that means 60 is the lowest amount. So let's raise this up to 60. Because there's always 30 difference between the highest and the lowest. Do ads on the roller coaster attract more guests than say on the merry-go-round? No. But, beautiful shiny but, different ads do attract different amounts of guests. So, hi Max. Hope your computer's doing fine now. The ad for free park entry actually does the most. It's the cheapest, but with 350 guests per whatever time unit, I don't know. It does add the most. I believe general park advertisement is 250. So, like I said, I don't know the time unit. Dirklink has a guide on it. That's a hell of a lag spike. But it's, you know, 250 compared to 350, so you know their comparative strength. But of course, if you do free entry to the park, those guests do not pay for the park entry. So you lose more money than just the 50. Although you would not have had those guests if you didn't do the ad, and they might still buy umbrellas and whatnot, so you don't lose that money. But it's not as strong as it seems, because if you advertise for the park, those guests do pay for the entry. So it's more expensive and it gets less guests, but those guests that you do get give more money. But if you want the most, just run all ads. If you just go for guests, run the cheapest. Ask it. Oh, sorry. I missed a geography question and a ride name thing. The question... Thanks to overseas territory, which country technically spans 12 time zones? That is La France! And name the burger store Turbo Burger. Alrighty. Yeah, it's good when you just need more guests, the cheaper ads. Turbo Burger. Oh, the burger store isn't here. It's here. So yeah, France has a lot of time zones, because random islands everywhere. Russia, I think, spans 11 time zones without any of those overseas territories. So Russia does it without cheating. China spans 5, or 4 if you would go half-hour time zones, I think, but only uses 1, which is Beijing time, which means that if you cross the border from Afghanistan to China, you jump forward 3.5 hours in time, which is the biggest time jump between land borders. Maybe maritime borders have a bigger one, but probably not. I feel bad for people who live in Xinjiang on account of the time zones. The sun rises at like 3 AM. I mean, it already rises at like 4 AM here in the summer. Let alone if we were 2 hours earlier. Of course, we are probably a little bit more northern, so our days are just longer. But yeah, it's definitely a problem. Because noon might be... No, the sun does not rise at 3 AM. It rises late. The sun there, I believe, rises only at like 10 AM or something like that. In the winter. I believe it was the other way around. Anyway, we have some more space for rides here. Also, I might need more staff. What's the stats of this baby? Oh, it misses a stat requirement. Highest drop height. How is this only 9 meters? Yeah, it does a bit weird calculations when it goes backwards. Oh well, it's fine. Stats don't matter because we don't charge for the rides. And you don't need to make all the set requirements to get the... To get the soft guest cap increase. Yeah, it's funny how I'm always hammering on stats and stuff, and of course, getting the highest stats is fun and all that nonsense. But if you're doing a pay per ride, pay for entry, the stats don't matter. Obviously, your ride shouldn't be too intense, because then guests don't ride them. But other than that, you need a little bit of variety in the intensity, so that guests of different preferences will ride different rides. But if you have a quote-unquote gentle ride roller coaster in between, it doesn't matter. You're not making money with it anyway. And it's all fine. Why aren't your streams pay-per-view? I mean, I could technically do that. There are people who do that. I would absolutely hate to do that. That would alienate so many of you, probably. Rightfully so. This isn't gonna work. I don't have space for the entrance and entry stuff there. Yeah, there are people who do that, I believe. But they are people who have a lot of very big audience, so... they can do that and still get enough people to actually pay for it. Obviously, it also depends. Like, if your streams cost a lot of money to create, have incredibly high production value, and all that kind of stuff, then it makes a little bit more sense. That's like all the high production value YouTube Red shows, like the YouTube Originals, which are sponsored by YouTube. Yeah, they're YouTube Red shows because they cost a lot of money to produce. Drown guest. There are all guests named Ed. I can only promise one. Oh, and drink some water. I'll do that in a minute as well. Where's the guest naming thing? I forget. There it is. Well, there is one Ed. One, two, and one Eddie, but the Eddie doesn't count. Do normal gaming streams have production costs? Depends on your definition of normal. There is the Age of Empires the Age of Empires Red Bull Wololo tournament, which is held on location in a castle in Germany. So I would say that one definitely costs a lot of money to produce. But isn't that amazing? Age of Empires 2, a game from 1999. Although obviously with a lot of upgrades since then, which has made it a lot better. But a game originally from 1999, and the base concept is unchanged since then, is popular enough still that they have tournaments, and not just tournaments, they are held on location, hosted by Red Bull, with a, you know, in a castle, and everyone is on site, like all the players, and they had like people dressed up as villagers, they had professional commentators who had been doing it for years on Twitch already, and all that kind of stuff, you know. And with a massive prize pool. Like Red Bull Wololo 5 is coming up. The prize pool for Age of Empires 2 was, I believe, $100,000. Or was it Age of Empires 4 that got $100,000? Well, Age of Empires 2 got a... No, Age of Empires 4 got, I believe, $200,000. But Age of Empires 4 got a massive prize pool. Which is amazing for such an old game. But it's more thriving than ever. So yeah, Age of Empires 3 is kind of the same as Rollercoaster Tycoon 3. It's not a bad game by any means. It's just not quite the same as Age of Empires 2. And Age of Empires 2 is very similar to Rollercoaster Tycoon 2, as that it's sort of just the first one but an upgrade. It's a little bit more different than Rollercoaster Tycoon 1, like compared to Age of Empires 1. So there's a little bit more of a difference than by Rollercoaster, but it's the same idea. I'm quite excited for Red Bull Wololo 5. I won't watch everything. I mean, there's several hours per day. I just don't have time for that. But I will definitely watch the final. And it's fun as well that my brother also plays Age of Empires. And when we stayed overnight in a hotel, like it was in the fall, like in the evening before we went to bed, we just searched up an old game from Red Bull Wololo that we had not watched yet, and watched it together. It was very nice. But yeah, about the Age of Empires 3 thing, it's funny because at Red Bull Wololo there will be Age of Empires 1, Age of Empires 2, and Age of Empires 4. But no Age of Empires 3. Age of Empires 4 is the new game, by the way, and everyone was, of course, curious how it was gonna be. It was released like a year ago or something? I'm not sure. And ultimately, I think has sort of flopped, but not entirely. Okay, by the way, I absolutely hate this tramway. Do you know why I hate it? It blocks off this side. Like, the path is right next to it. It blocks off this part of, like, this entrance to the lake. So, normally I would just remove it, but I'm gonna do it a little bit different this time. I'm gonna do this so that I have enough space to go underground. Or not quite underground, I'll just, I don't know, maybe lower the land a bit. But so that I can go down here. Your recent video of excavating the castle was the best in some time, right after the wooden coaster video. Have you thought about doing videos explaining OpenRCT2 features or changes in new releases? I mean, it's come up, but never any concrete, like, I've never started working on a video for that. So, I might do it at some point, but I'm not sure. One of the problems is that basically there are more ideas than I have time to make. Oh yeah, you can build a path across railroad tracks. I completely forgot. I will still not do it though. I'm gonna go old school. I'm gonna go underground here as well. Like that. And then, like that. Ball time. Should make Marcel at least one crossing. Of course everyone's gonna say yes. No, guests don't get run over. I mean, if they get run over, it doesn't do anything. But they will wait for the trains. You know what? I should probably make a video about that as one of the OpenRCT2 features. That's probably a feature that many people will like. Oh yeah, you do need to cheat for it. You know what? I'll make a crossing here. You do need... Oh no, you don't need it anymore. You used to need to enable zero clearance, but now you don't. There we go. There's the crossing. And as a reward for crossing it, I'll build a toilet. A railroad crossing just to get to a toilet. As far as I know, it doesn't change the stats. I mean, you get the path proximity bonus, of course, but not any more than usual. What if you put a normal stall there? I mean, what's the difference with a toilet? Well, they stand and get hit. I mean, they stand well across, you know, on the other side of the path. So, probably not. And like I said, they can't get hit anyway. Okay, so we're about 3/4 through year 1 and we're on about 40% of the guests that we need, so we're doing very well. And we have 15k in the bank, which is nice. So what's our soft guest cap? 1200. Okay, so we're still under the soft guest cap. OpenRCT2 just keeps getting better. Well, this is not quite a recent addition. It's been in the game for a few years. Do I have stalls there? I do. Okay, so first, I'm gonna build a path to here. Yeah, I haven't shown this yet in this stream, but there's a little thing up here. Add campaigns. Nope, not today. I never realized that it was just an OpenRCT2 thing. For me... Oh, that's what the no ads was about. I never figured it out. I knew it was going to be some kind of pun, but I never figured out for what. That was why you drowned him. There was also several things that I never knew. That were OpenRCT2 only, or that were changed in OpenRCT2. And that I then made videos about, and after I made the video, I found out weren't quite accurate and true, which I don't like. But it happens. Less so recently, mostly older videos. You know what I would love to figure out to do one day? Make a custom RCT ride. But I don't want to reskin flat rides like the one I know of. I'd like to make a modified maze that can be multi-level, or at least able to use some sort of bridge, like local corn maze and stuff. Talk to X. X, I mean X7 something. A lot of numbers. Kind of spells out extreme. He is good with the custom rides and stuff. I'm not sure if he's willing to, like, instruct you all the way, because there's probably quite a lot to it. But you can always try. He's done custom coasters. It might also just be impossible what you're trying to do. I don't know. I don't know how custom ride making works, so... Yeah, the synchronization video has, like, info that works perfectly fine for OpenRCT2. But not all for normal RCT2, and I don't quite mention that. And the same went for a ride prices video. I figured it out right after it, and then I made a part 2, which, you know, corrected that stuff. I still need to make a new synchronization video. Alright. Now it's time for more rides. You know what? I want a haunted heist. Let's build one. Underground. Come on. There we go. Requires quite a lot of space, even if you build it underground. Do you ever dream about Rollercoaster Tycoon? I can't remember like one dream, but I've definitely dreamt about making videos. And I've probably dreamt about Rollercoaster Tycoon 2 as well. That most likely, at least, you know, back when I played it like 8 or 10 hours a day. I've dreamt a lot more about speed skating. Like, I dreamt about all kinds of... Like, once I dreamt that a certain skater had done some impossible lap times. Well, not impossible, but very highly improbable lap times at some kind of competition. And when I woke up, I was like, hang on, that can't be true. Is it? And then I looked it up just to be sure. And it wasn't true. Obviously it wasn't. But I wanted to be sure nonetheless. Is there a mod that allows you to build paused? Yeah, it's the top cheat right there. There we go. Paused, and I can build. There we go. Whoops, I've used cheats in this run. Oh well. Have you ever dreamt that you were speed skating yourself? Yes. I was speed skating against some famous speed skater, some good... I don't know who. But I knew that I could keep up, which is not at all realistic. Rintje Ritsma, no. I'm not a fan of Rintje Ritsma. I don't dislike him either, I just have no positive or negative feelings towards him. Like, I find him quite uninteresting as a speed skater, to be honest. Which is not a problem, like, there are always people who I'm gonna be finding uninteresting. I do not think I have dreamt about RCT. Then again, the last time I really played it was like 10 to 14 years ago. Yeah, if you like played RCT and had constantly RCT in your head. Like, when I was building the calculator, I constantly had RCT in my head, the calculator in my head. I was thinking about it, think about how can I make this work, how can I make this work, how can I make this work. That, if you're thinking about it like that, which I sometimes do about videos as well, then it's likely that at some point you will start dreaming about it. But if you're just playing it and not really thinking about it besides the playing, then most likely not. And it's the same with the speed skating. I was constantly thinking about the lap times. I had them in my head and thinking about it constantly and constantly and constantly. Every time of the day basically, and then it gets in your head. The rent of the litter of kittens I'm fostering is big enough to get fixed as of this morning. Nice. Are all the kittens doing well? Thank you for the follow. No Hobo and Exile. You gotta be kidding me. Nice. So by the way, 2 days ago I had friends over. Well, I hadn't seen for a bit, but it's very nice. And one of them, he's about my age, like a few months older. Now about 8 months older. And it's very interesting because he's gonna be a dad. Got married about 2 years ago. And now his wife's pregnant. Which is kind of the first of my friends slash sibling slash family that's actually starting a new family. Like, I have a brother and a stepbrother and 3 cousins that are all about my age. I have, of course, several friends that are all about my age. But he is the first one. He is just about turned 26. And he's about to become a father. Well, not quite yet. It's quite exciting. I'm not becoming old. I mean, 25 isn't old, whether they have kids or not. Lots of trash at the entrance. Yes, quite. Lots. Oh, time to hire a handyman. And time to have them all fired, probably. Also, maybe not a bad idea to install a trash can there. Well, there are trash cans, but they're all full. You have to give the kid RCT to play, start him young. Maybe, probably not. I would definitely give my own kid RCT to play. Getting old is fine, getting boring and dumb is the bad part. That's a good quote. And it's absolutely true. Like, we all get old. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, my granddad, for example, was amazing. When I showed him Nightwish, and it was like full on one of their heaviest songs, like full on constantly head banging and that kind of stuff, which is not music he had all listened to. He still found it very interesting and didn't dislike it. And that's a very good mindset, I think. Okay, this is not going to work. We need more space for that, so we need to do that underground. Why build the same ride 2 times? Because if I don't have enough rides to get to the soft gas to cap of 2,500. Also, I don't mind it at all. Like, there's 3 space rings here. I don't mind that. Nightwish is considered heavy music. I mean, yes, very much. Depends on the song, of course. Like Eva, not so much. But Master Passion Greed or Slaying the Dreamer, it's very heavy. Obviously, it's not as heavy as like Slayer or I don't know, NC Verum. But it's still heavy. It's about a junior. Yeah, my grandpa was a really cool dude. I stayed at him fairly often. Every time I wanted to go to the zoo, mostly to relax. And he was always happy to do whatever I wanted. Whether it was to go to the zoo or to go swimming. He was always happy. Just as long as I was happy. Of course, there would have been things he wouldn't do. I don't know what that would be, because I never wanted to do anything extreme, but obviously he would have had limits. But as long as it was not unfun to do, yeah, it would, you know. He was always happy to do anything. What zoo? Amersfoort. Well, mostly Emmen. Because he lived there. Best treat. Oh, definitely is sushi. We could cycle to the zoo from his place. And I've been there many, many times. When it was still the old zoo, the good one. But we have also gone to many zoos that are not Emmen. We have been to... Oh, this isn't gonna work here. That's not gonna work. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go all the way around. We have been to Ouwehandsdierenpark. We have been to Amersfoort. We have been to Arnhem. A lot of fun to just go to random zoos in the Netherlands. We have not been to either Rotterdam or Amsterdam. But I have been there with my brother. To both. Which was also very fun. And yeah, my granddad and I went to Wildlands, which is the new zoo in Emmen once. And that was enough. It's just not very good. Unfortunately. We're gonna need to raise a lot of the water under this land. A lot of the land under this water, I mean. It's gonna be very expensive. I mean, this is kind of like Crazy Castle all over again. And that. And let's do it like all the way across for now. There we go. It's only one deep now. Okay, this obviously doesn't work. There we go, perfect ride. What languages do you speak? Dutch and English. And that's it. I can understand a little bit of French and German, but that doesn't count as speaking. And there we have our junior. It probably doesn't make it. Now that I'm looking at it. It got incredibly slowly. Well, it does make it. It's not the most exciting ride. But it does make it. I think the drop height requirement is 4 meters, in which case we would have made that. If it's 1 unit more, we would not have made that. Yeah, I don't care about guests complaining about the length of the queues. Well, an ugly color. Now, it's a fairly good brown. I mean, we can make it look better. There we go. I mean, honestly, this is just classic colors. We make these white. And a green train. That is better. And there we go. 456, 447, 301. It's pretty good. Now, unless I raise the land all the way and remove the water, we are going to have 1 unit less even on the water. Which is fine. But it does mean we can't build some rides probably that we could otherwise build that just about perfectly fit on the ground. Name the junior Hungry Caterpillar. Alrighty. What am I doing with this queue line? That's better. No, not Hungary. No, damn it. Caterpillar. So twice I typed Hungary instead of Hungary. It's just a force of habit. I use the word, I type the word Hungary many more times, many times or more often than the word Hungary. Caterpillar Magyar. What if like the ball of the 3D cinema could come loose, roll on the park, crushing smaller ride guests and breaking through track it encounters? You know what, you should make a 3D animation of that. With all the blood and gore and screams that you want. Other than that, how about no? Doesn't seem like a very good time. Let's build a mini golf. Does the exit work for dodgems on water? What? But yes, it's just an exit. I don't understand the question. I think. Like, it's a right exit. What more do you want? There we go. I'm not convinced the exit works. Okay. Cool. I suppose. And this is an original design. Ooh, hang on. Hang on. Pause. Where's my info kiosk? I completely forgot to do this first few times it rained. There we go. Much better. I don't care about the throughput. It's a pay for ride scenario, or it's a pay for entry scenario, not pay for rides. Okay, obviously the Enterprise won't work. But this thing... Oh, isn't that satisfying? It fits perfectly. Can you build a no entry sign at the one exit tile on the Caterpillar ride and build a balloon shop there? So that only guests who have ridden the Caterpillar ride can buy it. Sure. We'll make it white. To signify. If I were in a park getting soaked from the rain, I'd probably buy an umbrella for 20 bucks. Yeah, but the original 250 is like cheap. Let's say that umbrellas are like standard, I don't know, 8 bucks or whatever in the real world. If they suddenly went to 80 bucks or almost tenfold, then it will be a bit of a different story. Okay, this looks like a perfect place for some stalls. And we need a drink stall and a food stall. Okay, we don't have this drink yet. And we don't have this food yet. If you had every ride available in the 999 park, unlimited money, what ride is the last that you built? I don't know. Probably an... what's it called? Submarine ride. It's so goddamn situational. Like, if you also want me to use every single car, probably some, like, car... like, some boat hire, boat type that I forgot or whatever. Speaking of boat hire, why not make an impossible one? I'm cruel. LOL. Get effed. What's your favorite Q path combo and favorite normal path combo? Q path or normal path, I know. It's this one with this one. It's absolutely magnificent when you go up hills. Or, well, when you go normally too. But look at those velvety red stairs. Or, well, the path in general, I suppose. Isn't this bloody amazing? This is the definitely the best path in the game. I suppose my favorite queue line is probably just this combination. You know, the standard one for the crazy paving and the brown one and stuff. Thank you for the follow, Boromir 1201. Oh yeah, we're almost at 1600 guests. We're doing quite well. Would submarine rides be better if they could go down deeper, be more like an actual underwater roller coaster? No, because they still go slowly, because that's the way such a ride works. I would still not build it. There's only 2 boats. They're just I will never return. Lol. The next one will soon depart as soon as the last guest, like the 4th guest, attempts to go on it. Should be one soon, right? When was the last time you failed a scenario or a challenge? And if you just mean failed a scenario, today I failed Mega World Park several times. Now it's up to you to guess why. And I'll give you a hint, it's not... I didn't try. I was trying to beat it, but I wasn't trying. I mean, why is probably for a video? I mean, yeah, obviously, but... For what kind of video? Is then the question. On evil video? Not quite. No. Is there a cheat option that all guests will let go of their balloons, like when you beat the scenario? Yes, the win scenario button. Which works even if you've already beaten it. Ah, oh, we see the second boat depart, and they will never return. You can also give all the guests balloons, and they'll be given rainbow balloons. There's a cheat for that as well. Okay, we now have this option available. Let's build a corkscrew, heavy corkscrew. You know, it always weirded me out how many guests stare at you when you win. Yeah, and they clap. Like, they clap for some kind of god that they've never met. It's kind of creepy if you think about it. Okay, so if we do... this. And we can do that. And then we can do that. And then we can go the other way around again. And then we'll do a photo section here. And then we'll do a cutback. And can we then... Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna do another cutback. Ooh, fancy, eh? Thank you for the follow. Motions. And I think that was the last of the corkscrews. Or, as I used to call them when I was young, cockshrews. Alright, let's launch this. 64 should be fine. If not, then not. Yeah, me calling them cockshrews was just misreading, just like I used to call the inverted hairpin coaster the inverted harpin, because I couldn't English and I apparently couldn't read either. I don't have dyslexia. I was great at reading, but not at reading everything apparently. Alright, 6.27 excitement, 9.15 intensity, 3.93 nauseas. And exactly 2.80 lateral Gs. Now that's perfect. The funny thing is, when it has guests, it will go faster, so it will get more laterals. But the guests don't care, because it's already been tested at 2.80. Ah oui, le harpin, c'est très magnifique. And time for more flat rides. How about a Crooked Heist? Is it an open RCT2 feature that the corkscrew can launch as fast as that? Yes. Back in the day it could only launch up to 49? I believe. Oh, it's already doing rock style. Nice exit. Oh, whoops. I didn't notice. Okay then. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. Well, let's at least wait until a few guests drown. We kinda need to, right? Now watch it actually work. I completely didn't notice. Oh, thank you for the 8 months, Azumadayo. Have any guests already drowned? No, not quite yet. But they will be drowning in the toilet when this ride is finished. I don't know how long one cycle is. But, oh, there we go. Yeah, there go the balloons. They're drowning alright. Now, the guests that are now on it will also drown, because when you double close the ride, they're gonna exit through the exit. So, yeah, that's gonna hurt our park rating quite a lot. For a while. But it's fine. We'll live. And if not, we'll die. You know, that's how things go. If you don't live, you die. Hey? Nope. Darn it. This is a cursed park without even trying to be a cursed park. I mean, that's half of my live streams. Okay, I don't want it to connect to there. And open. It's funny that the park rating is still fine. Like, it's 762, which is obviously lowered quite a bit, but 1 staff and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 guests have drowned. And 15 guests and 1 staff member drown, and the park rating is like, yeah, you're still a pretty good park. Like, what do you have to do to destroy your park rating? Also, who rates the parks? Who is saying that, like, yeah, you're a mass murderer, but your park is, like, you have 10, I don't know, shuttle loops, you're fine. Okay, we're basically out of monies. Hang on. 60,000? I didn't know we could borrow that much. What? Sweet. We still had a lot of untapped money potential. What's our soft guest cap? 2007. Oh, we're still trading ahead. Good. Okay, so we have plenty of space here. So let's go for monster trucks. Why not? In the rain. It would be cool if you could see all the dead bodies floating on water. I have a feeling that if that was the case, the game would not be as popular. And especially, it wouldn't be played by as many kids. Just a hunch, though. I don't think parents would like that very much. Do you have a list of your favorite plugins mods? I mean, basically these. I mean, I never really used the Beep Editor or Destroy Path Furniture or Edit Ride Vehicles. Well, I've used it a few times, but like my favorite probably be Soft Gas Cap Calculator, Bench Warmer, Scenery Manager, Inspect Park Rating, and the Ride Price Manager. So, a few days ago on Reddit, nah, this is not long enough, someone posted a video they made, a YouTube video, about Rollercoaster Tycoon 1. And they said, you know, this is a nice nostalgia video. So I watched it. And a few people were hating on the thumbnail because it had his face with, you know, the shocked face and whatever. And it's like, yeah, I'm not a fan, but whatever. It's not the worst. But I watched it, and it just wasn't a good video. So, I did give some feedback on that, and I hope they're going to do something with it. But it was just basically some guy screaming at the game and cursing at the game that they barely knew how to play. Bad sound quality. And then marketed as nostalgia. I mean, it looks like he had fun. There's nothing wrong with that. But it was just a bit of a weird Reddit post. Maybe that's how we used to play. Maybe it is. If If you're going to review something, it's only fair to actually get to know the game first. It wasn't so much a review, it was more just playing it for nostalgia. I mean, it's kind of what I do on the stream. But yeah, it was just not a very good video. But I hope he learns from it, you know, if he wants to make more. Also, an interesting thing on Reddit I saw was someone who asked a question on Rollercoaster Tycoon 3. Like, nothing wrong with that, happens all the time. It's, you know, asking questions is normal. But the post had 0 upvotes, like it was downvoted. But for some reason, a comment, the only comment on it, from the OP, from the one who posted it, giving some more explanation, was gilded. Like someone, presumably he himself, or she, had given the comment, which was giving some extra explanation of some issue, gold. Reddit gold. And I don't understand why. Now that is a lot of monster trucks. Ooh, they gave plus 35% excitement. That's pretty much. It's a lot. That's pretty much is... Like, I was gonna say that... Like, if you say that's pretty long, you mean it's quite long. But if you say that's pretty much, because pretty much is a different expression, it doesn't work. Like, quite long and... For some reason, it just doesn't work. Quite much works and quite long works. They mean the same, but pretty long and pretty much don't mean the same. I don't understand why people spend money on Reddit gold. I don't have problems. Like, it shows that you like a post a lot, and it supports Reddit. Like, I love Reddit. Why wouldn't I support a website I use a lot, and that I've gotten basically my start on as a good Rollercoaster Tycoon player? Yeah, pretty much is an adverb, pretty long is an adjective. Adjective, that's the wrong emphasis. Ugh. I hate it when I can't build my chain lifts. I heard rumors Reddit was looking to go public. Yeah. There was some kind of uproar about that and then it died down and I haven't heard it like that in months until now. Alright, there's a guest with a... Well, dead guest now with a white balloon. Well, without a white balloon now. The white balloon's going to heaven, the guest is going to hell. Are you not thirsty? I am actually. Alright, let's go up. And now let's go down. All the way down. All the way down. All the way. Well, that's all the way. At least this is as far down as we can go. Then a few turns. And then we'll go up again. Unfortunately, we can't go very high because of the stupid tree limit thing. Yeah, that's gonna give a lot of verticals. At the end of the water, at the end of the scenario, will you remove all the path of the water and drown everyone? Maybe. Do you? I mean, are you guys wanting me to do that? Like, are you guys gonna ask at every scenario I play from now on? That would be very predictable. That would very much be like you. Okay, now this is probably a pretty scary ride. You know what, we don't need brakes here. No, I don't need holding brake for drop, I need photo section. There we go. Perfect. Alright, see ya, Ostrava. Now let's see what kind of... Whoa, that's uggers. What kind of mad G-forces we will get. Oh, no. Yeah, that's fine. Easy way to win the scenario, transplant a fully grown sequoia tree. I mean, it's not the tree height necessarily that makes the scenario difficult. You have a mountain, what more do you want? It's more the fairly high guest call. Okay, let's see how fast it goes over the hill. Oh, I missed that, but it was about 70. Yeah. That's a big vertical G spike. Oh, the vertical Gs are red now. Below minus 2.5 presumably then, because that's when you stop getting excitement from them. You know, it's funny, because that is a feature request that I made several years back. And it now finally got implemented. But since you never stop getting excitement from positive Gs, there's no limit to that, as far as I know. It never turns red. The feature that the Gs don't turn red anymore if you don't get a penalty or something like that. For example, this corkscrew has exactly 2.8... No, wait. This corkscrew has exactly 2.80 lateral Gs, but it's not red. And this corkscrew has 7.35 positive Gs, which is also not red, because you still get excitement from positive Gs. There's no limit on that. It doesn't give a penalty. There's no... It doesn't make sense for it to be red. Like, the amount of inversions isn't red if you put 10 inversions in. So why would the positive Gs turn red? I understand why Chris did it, because more than 5 is generally considered to be a little bit too much in, like, real life roller coasters. Okay, name the... what was the name? Name the red corkscrew Sneaky Snaky. Oh, that's a pretty good name. That was more handyman. We definitely do need those. Sneaky. Snaky. You know what? Let's make it a different red. That's a good red. No, that's ugly. That's better. That's even more better. Betterer? Betterer. No. Oh. We have 38,000. We're rich. Looks like licorice. What does your licorice look like? Like, licorice is usually white or black, right? Or did I get something wrong? You mean the red spiral rope things? I don't know what that is. I don't know what Twizzlers are. I've heard the term, but I don't know what they are. Americal licorice is red. Yeah, but America doesn't do proper licorice, like the black licorice, the real salty stuff, which is lovely. They don't do. Like, Americans are always very surprised when we have our salty licorice. I've never heard of white licorice, it sounds interesting. There's Scholkruid, although technically that's just a white coating of black licorice. So, a few years ago, this is how I used to build a lot. Like, tight groups of flat rides with path around it. Immediately around it, like no space in between. And that's how I used to build basically every park. Like, for example, I haven't saved this yet. If we load up this park, which has an interesting name. That's basically how I used to build. Lots of flat rides, lots of very tight paths. And obviously some coasters as well. Just the path around it too. And recently I've been building a bit less tight like that. Less optimized. This is, I think, also kind of when I developed my pathing style, which means like always loop around and stuff. It seems to work. Alright, back to this park. Let's add a few benches and bins. It works, however, it isn't always ideal. When is it not ideal? I'm curious. Let's build a miniature railway like it is a roller coaster. Because why not? Like that, and then like that, and then a little bump. No, let's go up because we need an exit and entrance building, which fits right under there. When adding benches and bins, because I leave no space behind when it comes to these two. So it's just a lot of effort and a pattern. I mean, that's for personal preference, yeah, that's not ideal, but for the park, it doesn't make a difference. And there we have it. A miniature roller coaster. Yeah, that one. Can a railroad have too many LATs? No, it doesn't record them. So you can try, but it won't work. Just like almost any non-roller coaster. In fact... Hey, Koploper Mao. Welcome, and everyone else. How you doing? As you can see, I'm playing Rollercoaster Tycoon. Doing Rainbow Valley, which is one of the most difficult scenarios in Rollercoaster Tycoon 2. But it's doable. And we just built a train that looks like a roller coaster. It's lovely. In RCT1, entrance buildings are 5 units tall. Really? Well, they've always been 4 units tall in open RCT. Are you sure? I mean, you will probably know. You wouldn't say it if you weren't sure, but... That would be... That was weird. Because... Yeah, they've always been 4 units tall in Rollercoaster Tycoon 2. Right? Unless it's not an open RCT2 change, presumably unintentional, but... You know, I've always remembered them as 4. I can check. Not now, but later. After the stream. Can the railroad crash? As far as I know, it can't. In fact, I believe the only ride outside of roller coasters that records lateral G's and the only ride that can crash is the dinghy slide, which is actually considered a roller coaster in the original game, both a roller coaster and a water ride. So, if you make it a roller coaster, the only ride category that can crash is roller coasters. And also the only ride category that records G-forces. Well, yeah, no G-forces at all. Is that true? No, that's not true, I think. I think the Ghost Train also records G-forces and can crash. No, I was wrong. The Ghost Train can also do it. Have you ever played Locomotion? Nope. I'm probably never going to either. Just because I don't really have an interest. Nothing against it, but... There are so many games that could be interesting for me to play. And I don't have time or motivation to do them all. Powered launch ride can crash. What is... Oh, obviously, yeah, launched free fall. But with crashing, I mostly meant like crashing 2 trains into each other. And that's not, doesn't really work with the free fall. Is this gonna work? Yes. Surprisingly. Ghost Train, yeah, I just mentioned that. Round 1 named Tom, Tim or Jim. What do you have against that specific name? Thank you for the follow, by the way. Patrick Hamhuis, Dan ICNG and Sam Beefhart. Beef, probably. Sam Beefhart. Tim, Tom or Jim. Let's see if we have a Jim. We do have a Jim. It's around Jim K. And there he goes. Three letter names ending in M are illegal, apparently. Yeah. And I don't know why. It's definitely GIF. Not GIF. And I've explained this before. Like, the G stands for graphics, so obviously it's GIF. And that's the benches and the bins. Ooh, our first geography question of the night. Wonder what it'll be. It's not even the first of the night. We got the time zone one before. What's the longest canal in the US? Well, until a while ago, probably the Panama Canal. Until that was returned to Panama. I have no idea. Maybe it's like the Los Angeles River, which is sort of like redirected by people, by humans. Honestly, I don't know. Oh, I don't have a magic carpet yet, which is partly because it doesn't fit. I would need to build underground, which isn't really all that much of a problem. Are those guests still stuck on a boat hire? Yes. I don't need to check because they cannot escape. Like, they can't get back to the station. So yeah, they're still rowing and still stuck. they're all the way there. Where was I? Oh yeah, Q line. There we go. These guys went from skipping leg day to never ending arm day. You should never skip arm day either. Arm day is important. This costs a lot of money, but it's worth it. Los Angeles, the most devastating disaster in terms of loss of life was the St. Francis Dam failure. Yeah, I've heard about that. It wasn't pretty. Oh, hang on, this is actually... This tip just about technically sort of like touches the surface of the water exactly. Let's remove it. There we go. Paul, what is best? Q line, Q surface, Q volume? Definitely Q volume. How do you come up with these polls? Like, what are you smoking? Let's do another go-kart. Okay, so we can do the exit there. And then for a low throughput, although loading times on go-karts don't really matter, because they're barely a blip compared to the riding time. But still, it makes everything a little bit worse when you need to walk for longer. So that's why I'm doing it. I hate my guests. Let's see. Let's go up. And then we're gonna make it even longer. And if you go too fast through a turn and you go over the edge, well, it's not my problem. But thou willst die. Like I said, not my problem. Entirely your own problem. That way. Then that way. Now we go like that. Whoops! That doesn't work. Alright. Go away. I need to go like that. And then that. Ah. Now isn't this perfect? And then we're gonna build a queue line right under there. Lovely, ain't it? That's why I kept that open. Now, of course, we're gonna do 10 laps to make the waiting even more miserable. And we're gonna do queue lines so that guests will never leave. Queue lines, I mean TVs. It's already a queue line. Oh, it does appear to change between RCT1 and RCT2, the height of the entrance building. So I'm glad that I wasn't wrong on how tall it was in the original RCT2. But it's interesting, because I never knew that. Let's do 2 drop towers, because we just unlocked that. Now, let's swap these around. For reasons unknown to you, known to me. Why are there no queue line PCs? Because this was the 90s. When this was made. It's funny, if this was made today, then maybe some kind of feature involving cell phones, mobile phones would be implemented. Like, maybe you wouldn't buy a map anymore. And people would just order food, like from Uber Eats or whatever. Drop tower in a height limited scenario seems like a cruel joke on the player. Well, you can build it perfectly fine here. The one that you can't build is the, what is called launch freefall. Because the slowest launch speed is too fast for a tower this tall. Although, hang on. No, I think you can't do... Let's check. I think you can't do downwards launch either. Because if you do this, and then do downward launch, and then test it, I think it will still crash. There we go. Boom. Splash. Yeah, on the rebound it has a minimum. It rebounds a little bit, and that's still too fast. It's probably just the same speed as the minimum launch speed. Also, we almost have enough guests. And our soft guest cap is already higher than what we need. So yeah, we're doing this without ads in just a little over half the time. Which shows you that this challenge, this scenario isn't that difficult if you know what you're doing. Like, yeah, I'm building a fair few flat rides, but I'm not optimizing that much. I'm not advertising. Like, I haven't built any tiny corks. I mean, there's a lot of corks here, but they're not tiny. Well, the corks are the same size, but the coaster is bigger. The observation tower is also a great experience. Funnily enough, this is the best observation tower design in the game. So, yeah. The observation tower is perfectly fine for this. We drowned at least 20 guests at this point. Yeah, probably around there. Like 15 unintentionally from the crooked highs. And then another about 5 from you guys. Yeah, 20 checks out. No, the exit is no longer going into a queue line. That would have, or going into a toilet. That would have kind of ruined my park rating by now. We have a lot of different rides available. Let's build one of these, which you also can't build, but you can do it with the stat penalty. Kablam! Now, this gets a stat penalty, but it's still very much overpowered. And I still like it. There we go, that's the ride. Short und sweet. Yep. You can still charge a lot for it. Well, not in this part, because it's charged for entry, but if we did charge for the ride, we could have charged like, I don't know, 20 bucks for it. That's a racetrack if you're American. Yes, it is. NASCAR stuff. Or kind of like a speed skating track if you're Marcel. Or you're Dutch. Nice exit path. Oh, I did forget that. Thank you for reminding me. Well, someone did just die. Which makes this action park, I suppose. That's fine. I don't mind being action park again. It's not my fault that none of the guests can swim. I mean, that first guest that drowned did have a path built above his head while he was still drowning. I'll admit, it's kind of difficult to save yourself when there's a path above your head. But still, you know, put some effort in. You lazy bastard. And un cachet machine. Let's go yellow. And one of these. If it did 10 laps, yeah, I'm afraid it cannot do more than one lap, this ride. It does look a little bit empty because of the big space in the middle. But it's a good ride. Yeah. Drown a guest of your choice. Drown a handyman not helping the poor drowning guy. The one who built the path. Well, the one who built the path is handyman number 69. There we go. There he is. See ya. Lol. Now, do you want to watch a panda drown? Because I kinda do. Panda costume. Bye bye. I like watching pandas drown. It makes me happy. Yeah, we are why pandas are endangered. You don't sound like a serial killer at all. I don't. Really? You don't say. Imagine trying to swim in a mascot costume. Those are the most believable drownings. Nah, they're just lazy. They just lost the will to live. That's something we can all relate to, right? Hashtag depressed memes or whatever the kids are into these days. Let's see. I don't like this ride because you only have big turns available. Let's go that way. Awesome! I hate this ride. I truly despise it. This ride might be even worse than the submarine ride. I'm not sure, but it might be. Yeah, of course Max loves it when I hate it. I mean, that's typical. That's to be expected. Okay, let's make this a little bit more fun colored. Ooh, now it's colored like the blood of my enemies. Which I think qualifies as fun. Yeah, would you look at that? No, I don't like that. That's better. I just tripped on a cat and tweaked my ankle. Oh, that sucks. No, I loved it before knowing that you hated it. Yes, sure. I don't trust you, Max. I don't trust you one bit. Oh, a cat toy. I trip on cats all the time too. Yeah, I've also tripped on cats before. They've mostly been fine. You just gotta add good scenery and such. What is scenery? I don't do this mysterious thing that you call scenery. Except for when it's bull rushes. Hi, Kianster. I have almost enough money to level the entire lake. If I had been advertising, I would have enough money. But it's not quite there. Thank you for the follow, XT3DNB. Hey, thank you for the gifted sub, bro. What's up? How you doing? I saw you were playing Age of Empires today. Were you preparing for your participation in Red Bull Waterloo 5? And that's the benches and the bins. I love saying the benches and the bins. Okay, let's add a right here. Don't want to make it unfair for the other players. That's fair. This looks nice. With the thing going around it. Mr. Ride. Well, we have the guests. We can now complete the scenario whenever we want by just unlocking early scenario completion. Keep up the nice streaming, mate. Thank you. Thank you for the follow. And that one and that one. First, I don't want to make enough money to completely drain, well, not drain the lake, but like get rid of this low bit. Because, I don't know, it'll look nice. In the meantime, we have built quite a park, and honestly, I have kept quite well to the valley. Like, we've built nicely in the valley here, built a few coasters. Built a few coasters up the hill. Like, you have a lot of space in this park, by the way. Look at the size of the park. I've only used like 25%, maybe 30% of it. You can easily fit like 10,000 people in this park. Now, the problem is that with the limit of not being able to build above 3 level, then it's quite difficult to actually build stuff on the hills other than coasters going up and down and paths going up and down. So you're kind of constrained to this bit, which of course is entirely on purpose. And it's plenty of space to get enough guests. So it's a good scenario. Has anyone ever completed this park while still making it look ready with scenery? Yes. I have never seen that. But considering how many people play Rollercoaster Tycoon and will have played this scenario, I can guarantee you that at least once someone has made this look nice. And there we go. We have leveled the entire lake. At least apart from the outer ring, which we don't own. So now it's time for another roller coaster. How about a limb? Just got here. Which scenario? It says it right in the title. Now, we can't do looping, so if I'm gonna launch fast, the inversions will have to wait. Actually, no, the corkscrew is not the only one. We've also got the inline twist, which we can do at speed, up to 100 kilometers an hour. I never opened that ride. Are there any other rides I forgot to open? Yes. Oh no, that's the one I'm currently building. Other one? No. All the others are opened. Also, I have no monies. What if you raised a few tiles and built the looping underground? You know how hella ugly that would be? There, like, just some land coming out of the water and just a looping inside it. Like, I already look in the mirror every day. I don't need more ugliness. Your Dutch reclaimed the land. I did that in last video. Although technically I turned it into a lake. But someone made the comment, the joke, and I liked it. Dang. I'm truly out of money. Well, let's fast forward a little bit then. Assuming the soft guest cap is high enough. Yeah, 3017. That's plenty high. To make some more money. Let's take a sip of water. How's your debt looking? Well, we actually have quite a lot of debt. Do you still have 68 handyman? Yes. Well, actually, yeah, no, I do. I'm 60k in debt. And a lot of that was landscape. Like 17k, 29k, 15k, 8k, 17k, 3k, 2k. It's just a lot. About 60k probably. Make it 67. Maybe. You have a channel point reward for that. You can make me do that. But you need to pay. Because that way, you know, if I just do it, it's all on me. I am the moral agent. I am morally wrong because I'm the agent who did it. If you use channel points, then it's all on you. Because you forced me to do it. So that way, I am not morally responsible for the death of whoever you choose to drown. So I can just live guilt-free. Yeah, I was just following orders. It's like when you're, I don't know, shooting people in a war. Just following orders had never worked in the defense. So far it's worked fine for me in this game. I've never been punished. Then again, I am God, so maybe that works in my favor. Still not enough money. Well, let's fast forward some more then. I want money. What's costing me so much? Every month. I mean, we could skip out on this. But yeah, the staff is fairly expensive. And you just don't make that much money when you don't advertise on the entrance. Fired all my staff. Thank you. That saves me a lot of money. Also ruins the park probably. But you know, you get some, you lose some. That's all them gone. Oh, I only had 6 handymen. And that's all the security guards gone. Now we do that. And then we go downsies. You don't have enough points, Line. You're like one of the most active people. You just wasted all your points on, well, firing my staff previously. Yeah, you're also very active with points. This is honestly quite a nice limb coaster. Like, this is a good design. It's one that's very, you know, high speed, lots of turns. It stays close to the ground. I quite like it. I also like this queue line shape. Look at that, that's wonderful. For some reason it looks way too big for the entrance building. But, I don't know. I like it. Color right of your choice. What's it gonna be called? Presumably you're gonna rename this, right? Recolor. A nice dark blah. I could make it entirely dark blue. That's nice. Could also do it a little bit more different colors if you want to. That for the trains. That is nice. What are the stats? 633, 907 and 607. That's not bad. Not bad at all. This thing has 413, 799 and 660. Yeah, it goes quite fast, this one, doesn't it? It has an average speed of 148 kilometers per hour. How long have those poor folks been on the boat? Quite a while. I mean, it's built more than a year ago, so more than an hour. You know, for a while. They're not all that happy about it, but they have plenty of energy left still. So they can keep rowing for a while. Can you stack 3 of them on top of each other? Not direct. Yeah, no, you can actually. Let's see. Name a ride of your choice. Name the boat hire Hotel California. That's a good name. Welcome to Boat Hire California. Does coffee increase a guest's energy? Probably not more than other drinks. Boatel, that's even better. No, I need one more. Hotel California is better. It is. Hotel California. $125 kilometers per hour? Nope, 144 is the launch speed. Because we do as fast as possible. AFAP. Now I need to connect this somewhere. There we go. Whoops. You go away. You go there's. Much better. Thank you for the follow, Dastrol. And there we go. That's two of them on top of each other. I don't think we can do three because of the height of the entrance building, but let's quickly check. No, that's the same height. That does work. Huh. Thought it would be too tall. Also, I can rehire staff. Park rating has taken a little bit of a hit, but not too badly. They're all working very hard sweeping the footpath. Or footpathing the sweep. And 10 mechanics, which are all immediately heading to right to inspect. Or, well, fix presumably first. Let's see, are they all getting calls? No, has no ride broken down? No, there are quite a few broken down. Oh, they're all answering radio calls now. Well, they're all gonna fix rides. Have fun, guys. Oh, someone's already fixing go-karts. That's quick. Can you beat the game without mechanics? Easy. Takes a little bit of micro, just replace the ride whenever it breaks down. Also, certain scenarios you don't need mechanics at all. You beat them so quickly. In fact, I bet that you can beat a lot of rides like scenarios without ever needing mechanics. Thank you for the 19 months, Buster. Should build one of those fancy 2-lane go-karts. I'm not fancy enough for that. You gotta ask Dirklink. Speedrunning RCT. Weird but okay. I mean, I did a speedrun a few days ago. 53 minutes for all the Rollercoaster Tycoon 1 base game scenarios. So it's definitely a thing. World record is 18 minutes. Which is quite a bit better still. But then again, I didn't really prepare at all. Well, I had done it before, so that's a slight preparation. Can you build a turbo polyp? What the hell's that? Alright, there we go. Let's make this a traffic light. Let's make this red. This one orange. Oh, this needs to be the darker. And this one green. And darker green. Is it possible to build a rainbow stack of air-powered coasters? No, because we've hit the support limit. Well, the coaster itself doesn't have a support limit. Literally doesn't. But you can't build above tree height in this scenario. So, no, that's not gonna work. Oh, it's a twist. We do have a twist. And I had already built one, apparently. There. You can use cheats to turn the go-karts into a roller coaster and build an invisible track that's wider than normal. Yeah. Dirklink has actually literally made a video on that, I believe. Like, wide go-karts. So, if you want to know how it's done, you can watch it. Hey, thank you for the sub, Cat Bugger. Make this park really dance. Nope. Just a nope. Thank you for the bits. Galaxy Gothic and Noisy Summer. Can we build this on water? We can. It's probably right against the limit. What's the name of this park? Rainbow Valley. Summit, sorry. Rainbow Valley is the RCT1 park. And it's funny, because we built a lot of stuff in the valley, which is probably why I said the wrong name. And the park is about full. Obviously, you have a lot of space here left. Oh, thank you for the 5 gifted subs line. Have you gifted the most now, or is Neri still ahead of you? I think you're ahead of Neri now. With 212. Thank you very much. Can we also build one of these? Yeah, we literally can't build it any higher. This is the limit. Not sure how many Neri has gifted. You can probably like see a list somewhere of top gifters ever. I wouldn't really know exactly where. Or maybe only I can see it. I'm not sure. Let's build a motion sim. With a long queue line. Can't afford a sub, so I live off Sline's generosity. Well, luckily Sline has a lot of generosity. Also, yeah, don't, you know, obviously I'm very appreciative of all the donations. But don't feel pressured to do it if you can't comfortably do it. Because I like you all, whether you can donate or not. And obviously most people aren't donating. Thank you for the follow. Just Joop. Now that's something that you can do. Because it doesn't cost money. And obviously if you want to regularly watch me, then you're most likely already following me. And let's build the last ride of today. Because then the park is full. And we have more than 3,000 guests. We're not quite at the end of year 3 yet. The park goes on until year 4, but that's a little bit too long for me. So that's why I'm gonna end it soon. Could also tell your friends about Marcel. Yeah, you should. Tell all your friends about me. I mean, only if they're gonna be interested, of course. Otherwise, you're just wasting their time. Thank you for the follow, Agent Michael Scarn. I'm going to tell my dad about you. Well, that's also nice. Alright, there we go. That's pretty much Rainbow Valley filled with rides. The Valley of Rainbow Summit filled with rides. It's Rainbow Summit, not Rainbow Valley. It's so... Okay, so it's ironic that I'm making this mistake, because at the start of the stream, I corrected the people who confused this for Rainbow Valley. They thought it was an RCT1 scenario, which Rainbow Valley is. And now I'm making the same mistake. Now you just need to wait for the hype train to finish. I mean, technically I don't need to. I can do whatever I want. It would be nice if we reach a higher level, of course. I could keep building right in the meantime. There's still a little bit of space left. Like here. Mistakes are contagious. Yes, they are. You've been contaminated by Rainbow Valley. Hang on, can we build this? No, you can't build queue lines through that. I didn't know for sure. I did think it, but I hadn't tested it yet. This is also a nice long CCQL. It would be wild if you could wait on a railway track. Oh, obvious. I forgot that that would be the reason that you can't. How many guests have used the crossing toilet? 934. Okay, we have about 3,100 guests. And let's actually complete the scenario. Enable early... Oh, that was quick. The day rolled over right as... Because you can only beat scenarios when the day rolls over. To the new day, because then it's checked once a day. And the day rolled over right as I selected that. So there we go. We just beat Rainbow Summit without advertising. And... It's, you know, building a lot of cheap rides, but not spamming optimal coasters and stuff. So if you want to use this as a guide, go ahead. It works. It's very similar to my original Rainbow Valley tutorial. Except there I did build like 6 or so tiny corks at the start. And I did use advertisements. One of these days I expect you to do a toilet that you have to cross the tracks to get to, but the train is practically infinitely long. Maybe. I could do that. Alright, let's save the game. Wait, what? What do you mean, save failed? I know... So, it happened before, but the last time that happened... is years ago. What if I... Okay, if I just save... Seems to work. What if I try to save as a different name? Okay, save as doesn't work. I've just saved and it didn't work either. Do the autosaves work? No, the autosaves don't work either. Oh! Is my disk full? Hang on. No, I have 38 gigabytes left. Okay, what if I remove... Oh, no, I'm looking in the wrong place now. This is weird. Oh, thank you for the 200 bits. I probably mispronounced that horribly. Okay, which should I delete? Let's delete these parts, not like they're any useful to me. Okay. Let's try to save again. Nope, still not working. Just move the parks. I mean, yeah, that would work too, but... Like, the autosave isn't working either, and that's a different folder. Okay, so what if we just go up and up? What if I save here in the general OpenRT2 directory? That also doesn't work. It's something to do with the park. Like if we go up further. Let's go back to default. There is something with this park that makes it not able to save. Maybe it's the railroad crossing. No, I put that in. Okay, so it's something that I changed. Because if we go to autosave, it's something that I changed between 2209 and 2214. Because the next autosave would have happened at 2214, but obviously it failed. So, what did I do then? What did I build? Why is there... I have lots of handyman. Why is there still puke here? A triple-decker coaster. Yeah, but I don't see how that gives any issues. Also, I built that a bit later than that, I think. I built, like, some of this stuff. And it must be... Because I kind of do want to save, to keep the save file. The river ride. Have we ruled out the railway? I mean, technically we haven't ruled it out yet, so let's give it a shot. Just to be sure. Yeah, that's not the issue, because we built that way earlier. You can't go back in time on Twitch streams, right? Because I can't go back in time on my own recording, because it hasn't saved yet. So I can't check it that way. Oh, you can. Oh, only like 2 minutes or so. Well, that doesn't help. Because we need to go back about half an hour. You can watch the vault. Yeah, but not... The VOD doesn't exist yet, because the stream hasn't ended. That's the problem. The same goes for my own recording of it. Which I use to upload to YouTube and stuff, so I don't have to download it from Twitch. It hasn't ended yet, so... The recording, it doesn't exist yet. Oh, that VOD does exist? Well... I'm going to take a quick look. What I built at around 2 hours 11, 2 hours 13. Okay, 2 hours 13 I built this roto drop. I had just finished that. So then I saved. So yeah, that was the save at 2210, which is the most recent one we got. Let's see, what did I do then? Oh, I showed around there a bit. Then I... The water right was already there. This thing. Yeah, I finished raising the land. Maybe that's the issue? That's weird. Then I built the limb. Maybe the limb is the issue? No, I only started building. I didn't finish the limb until after the next autosave would have finished. So what did I do in between? I didn't really build a lot in between. Like, all I built... Yeah, the only ride I built was this road, that roto drop that's currently on the screen. And I raised the land. And I half built the limb coaster. Well, you know what? Let's... No, not with scenery. Oh, Well, I'm pretty sure it's the limb coaster then. If I can't save that either. Let's see, can I save other designs? Can I save this thing? Okay, no, it's not the limb coaster. I can't save anything. Yeah, I think the game's bugged. Well, that's unfortunate. That's really quite unfortunate. Well, I'm gonna keep it running after the stream. Maybe I can find some help and still save it. Yeah, but if the park is corrupted, I should still be able to save all the ride tracks. Use cheats to drown everyone. No, I can't save. I don't want to lose the park. Well, anyway. Thank you very much for watching this stream. Even though we had a little bit of troubles here at the end. Still had a lot of fun. And we had quite a lot of viewers. Up to 230 at some point. So let's see. Who can I raid? How about someone called Ice Queen? That's a good name. Seems to be a bit VTuber-like. That's fine. Alright. Thank you very much for watching. And I will see you in the next live stream. Bye-bye.
It's PUBG, but with cartoon graphics.
And
every
faster
time I
pace.
show up in
more
ah!
Jesus Christ.